everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thank you for joining me today on this Flosstube Friday for Flosstube number 58. And this is your fortnightly Flosstube Friday update. I do love a good alliteration. And I think I have a lot to talk about today. Goodness, I really like the 2 weeks because I feel way less pressure to like do things, which is really kind of nice since I'm feeling very busy right now with all sorts of different things, which I'll talk about later on. But I have some finished objects. And I need some advice on how to fully finish it. I have some new starts and some WIPs. I have a really big announcement. Well, it's a big announcement to me. I don't know if anyone else cares. I'll explain about it later. You all voted for the ornaments I'm going to stitch for ornament exchanges. So I have that vote. I have a Haunted Baby Halloween giveaway. I have a freebie Halloween chart. What else do I have? I have Happy Mail and plans and haul and a book/work update. So, buckle in, folks. I think this is going to be a long ride. But before we get to any of that, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my crafty and artistic adventures, and welcome back to everyone who's been hanging out with me for however long you've been with me. It has been great to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy. I'll put that right here. And that's where I post, pictures of stitching and other crafts I'm doing. And lately I've been into spools and weaving. I'll talk about that in a bit. I post pictures of my dog and my walks around town, things that I find interesting. Basically, it's kind of my daily picture blog. And if you're interested in seeing what I'm doing during the week, you can find me at Dr_Christy. And this is a channel about embroidery and cross stitch and other textile crafts and baking and history and the history of all of those things. So if any of that's interesting to you and you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around. Yeah, all sorts of stuff today. I have a couple finished objects. I think I posted all of them on Instagram. The first one is my embroidery for my friend's daughter, Eden. And I love how this turned out, although there was some bleeding of the pink, as you can see there, and a little bit of bleeding of the green. You can see it better on my Instagram, but this fabric, although it's very washed out in this, is actually a light pink. So I'm not so worried about the pink bleeding into the pink. I don't think she'll notice. I don't think anyone will care. But I am a little disappointed. I used color and cotton and it said it was color fast, which is why I should have tested it. I know I should have tested it. I didn't test it, but I think it's okay. But note to self, color and cotton, the dark colors, they do bleed. So now I know for next time, and I'll be more careful about that, because I used a water soluble pen, which I also didn't love. And maybe I didn't love it because I didn't want to get this too saturated, because I didn't want things to bleed. You never know. But I can still see a little bit of the blue. I can still see a little bit of the blue in the piece. Again, I don't think anyone else will ever notice it, but I certainly don't want to stick it in the water more because I don't want this to bleed more. So this is my finished object. I'm really excited. I'm going to send it out this week, but I do need help deciding how I'm going to frame it. I have these two flexi hoops. I have a gray one and a pink one, and both of them I think will match. So what are your thoughts? Here's my pink one. So it's sort of like very pink. Right? That's the pink one. And that's the gray one, which is slightly larger. But I think they both fit really well. So what do you think? Pink or gray? And the gray is a little gray-green, but that's okay because green is one of the colors too. So gray-green. So just, this is your opinion, not a vote. So I'm going to see what everyone says. You can give me your justification for what you think I should do. And then I'll pick the one that I like based on that. Because what I find is that when I ask for someone else's opinion, it more solidifies my opinion, if that makes sense. So gray or pink? Let me know. Let me know what you think down below. that's my first finished object, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I'll put it there. I have a table here that's like covered in stuff. Oh, my next finish is like, I'm not quite sure if this is considered a finish because I have a lot of them to stitch, but they're all little individual things. So I think I'm going to consider it a finish. I've decided to make some ornaments, and I'll talk about why later on. But instead of just doing fully embroidered ornaments, what I decided to do was buy a vintagey Christmas fabric, which I like this one because it's kind of botanically. And I've stitched some gold, and you can't really see it, but I've also stitched some green right here that kind of blends in. But I did some beads. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. So this is one kind, and I think I'm going to make 5 of these. That's the one pattern. Well, there are going to be 4 patterns, but I've only worked out 2 of them. The second pattern is pine cones. Here, I'll put it this way. Pine cones with little pearl beads on it. Stitched in berries with some BeStitchMe silk. And then again, the gold. That's DeVere yarn silk right there. In the gold from like my wedding bouquet flower, because I have a ton of it, right? So that's the second style that I like. And these are just going to be finished in like 3-inch hoops. Let me show you. Well, right here. Like those 3-inch hoops right there. Here are the hoops. Little hoops. So it'll be like this with a little bow at the top, which I think will be super cute. But I'm keeping them in this bag, and I have just like a pile of stuff. I just have a pile of stuff in here. I'm just going to keep talking. Hope I come up with something soon. There we go. So this is the 3rd pattern. And I think I'm going to do gold beads in the middle of the flower and then stitch in the red berries and then do some more gold in the, like I did with the leaves for the other one. And then the final one is this one, which is super simple. And I think I'm going to do maybe pearls in the flowers and then maybe some green and gold stitching in them. So those are kind of subtle. So those are my new starts, you know, tiny finishes. I feel like when you finish one, that's a finish, right? It's like a completed object. And like I said, these are stitched in 2 different kinds of silks. They're BeStitchMe, Red Barn from BeStitchMe. Espresso, which I haven't used yet, and I actually forgot it was in there, but I might use that for something. And then the green I'm using is Swamp, which I just think is such a lovely Christmas green. Like, so those are my BeStitchMe silk combo. And then the DeVere yarns I'm using is this, I think it's called Old Gold. And it's in the super fine silk. So I'm actually doubling it up. And speaking of DeVere yarn silks, I just ordered their advent calendar. I'll put a link down below. They have an amazing advent calendar. You can get it in silk, cotton, wool, a combination. I love it. I love DeVere yarns. The shipping is a killer because it's coming from the UK, but if you're in the UK, it's domestic. It's not a killer. And I think that the cotton, and it's not expensive. Like the advent calendar, as far as stitching advent calendars go, isn't that expensive. I think the cotton and the cotton wool are, I want to say 43 pounds, which isn't cheap. I mean, it's not like, it's not cheap, but it's definitely not as expensive as other ones. And if you're in the UK, the shipping is like in the UK. So that's good. I'll put a link down below to them. This was actually a gift to me from a wedding gift from a lovely friend. So that's why I was able to kind of splurge and get this one too, because I'm already getting the Forbidden Fiber Co. Advent calendar box too. So Christmas Advent season, the countdown to the 25th is, I'm going to have things to open. And speaking of which, I was kind of thinking about doing a Flossmas I'm not going to. I think what I'm just going to do is do a Flosstube every week because I have things I want to give away. I have like giveaway stuff that I was like kind of saving in case I wanted to do a Flossmas, but I just don't. That feels like work. It does, because I don't know. I tend to edit more than a lot of people do, and I struggle with not editing. And so I just need to like allow myself to edit my videos and not do it every day. I may throw in maybe twice a week. Maybe I'll do twice a week. I don't know. We'll see. But I do have these 2 different boxes to open up, and that'll be fun. I also have food advent. I have a chocolate advent and a shortbread advent that I got. I got one for me, and one of each for me, and one of each for my husband, because shortbread and chocolate, I mean, sounds great to me. That is my one set of new starts. My second set of new starts is a completely new craft. So if you're following me on Instagram, you will know that I have recently decided that I want to start weaving. And let me explain. So I was not going to start weaving. In fact, I really wanted to start weaving and could not justify starting to weave because looms are not cheap, right? A loom is an expensive investment. Even a cheap loom is an expensive investment. I could make like a frame loom if I wanted to, but that again is like, I don't know, I didn't want to put the time into it. But then I discovered circular weaving. And circular weaving uses hoops. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but I have 1 or 2 hoops that I'm not currently using. And so I thought, well, why don't I use them and make some weavings? So my first circular weaving was this one, which I like as a concept, but I don't love symmetry. I like when things are balanced, but I don't like when things are symmetrical. That's not to say that I judge anyone whose stuff is symmetrical. It's just my personal taste is like not symmetrical, kind of wild. You know, that's just kind of my taste in art and crafts and decor. I like things not to be symmetrical. So while I like this, it's not my favorite. And this is done in just a cotton yarn with, this is leftover silk sari, recycled silk sari from my wedding stuff, some wool roving that I got from my mom, this here is bamboo yarn, and more cotton yarn. So these are just different colors of blue cotton yarn. So I did that. That was my first one. And, you know, I think for a first ever circular weaving, it's not bad. I used 3 different stitches, and I used 2 different stitches and a tassel. It's kind of what I did here. But then I was like, I really want to try something really wacky. So I made this one. And I love this one so very much. So very much. I love that it's not symmetrical, but it's balanced. And my idea was that this mustard, I couldn't think of the word, gold or mustard, kind of started small. Like I was thinking of it kind of like a river where it flows out from the middle here and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and then flows down. That's how I saw it. I don't know if anyone else sees that. And then these are kind of like clouds. I don't know. But it's balanced. It is, so this here is balanced by kind of this up here. It's using the whole frame, which the other one did not, thanks to this roving around the outside. And this is using, I think this is acrylic yarn here. We have some roving. We have more, this is acrylic, I think. Wool and acrylic, I think. Wool and nylon? I don't know. I think this is a wool and something mix. This is the silk sari ribbon, and then this is the silk sari ribbon wrapping around the outside. And at the top, I decided instead of just having it hang from like a loop, that I would do a detached buttonhole stitch, which is an embroidery stitch, and make a little like triangle and hang it from that. And then I thought, well, sometimes I don't want to go in a circle. So how can I make an embroidery hoop that's round allow me to weave in any direction? I don't want to go in a circle. Now you could, and some people do this, go, you know, up and down, like as if it were a square loom. But I don't know that I was ready for that. After I made this detached buttonhole stitch at the top, I thought, well, why don't I just make a web out of detached buttonhole on a ring and weave through that. So this is the picture I took of the buttonhole, detached buttonhole after I made it. And it's essentially just a net, right? It's a net in the ring. And then here's a picture of that and like my initial sketch of what I wanted to do. And here is the final product. I'm not sure that I love the tassels. The original design had them kind of cut like that, but I don't know that I like that either. So I need to kind of think about what I want to do with these tassels. But I love this and how natural it looks, but like natural, but also how kind of wacky it is. Like I just kind of love that. So just there are lots of different elements in it. I have the cotton yarn is the web. I have some grass twine. That is this. Some wooden beads. This is, I think, again, an acrylic of some kind. I have wool roving at the top, and then I have copper wire just to kind of add a little unexpected shiny element to it. It just hangs from a loop with a bead. I really like it. I think it's really not for a lot of people. I think a lot of people wouldn't be happy with it, but it's almost exactly what I designed and I'm pretty pleased with it. Those are my 3 weaving finishes. And I also finished some jewelry. So as those of you who've been watching me for the past, I don't know, month know, I became obsessed with vintage spools of thread, essentially. Vintage wooden spools with thread on them. And I decided to like, well, you can just buy one spool on eBay, but it's like $4 plus shipping often is like $5. So that's like $9 or $10 for one spool. But when you look for spool lots, you can buy 150 spools for $50, including shipping. So it like, I don't know. I have no chill. I have zero chill. I'm not good at like doing small things. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to spend $20, $15 on a pair of earrings, spool earrings that I need to make when I could make like 50 pairs of earrings for $50, right? I mean, that's a huge difference. So needless to say, I bought the spools, and I'll talk about the spools and I'll show a picture of those spools that I bought when I talk about haul. But for now, I made some earrings. So I am wearing them now. I made these, then I made some other ones. And they have a little vintage button on the bottom and a little glass bead in the top. And they're just hook in. And these are blue silk from Corticelli, I think. I think they're Corticelli silks. Yeah, Belding Corticelli. So I made these for me. And here's a better glamour shot of them. And I made other ones because well, let me back up. Before the pandemic, I always had like a side business. This side business took many different forms depending on what I was interested at the time. For several years, I baked macarons at a local pie shop every week. And so I would have macarons, right? And I made some extra money off of that. I sold embroidery. When I first started making embroidery, right away, I sort of signed up for art walks and stuff like that. I sold them in the pie shop where I baked macarons. And so I've always sort of had something going on. And then the pandemic hit and the pie shop closed and I didn't have anywhere to make macarons. Then I started this YouTube channel, which helped, but I don't make money off my YouTube channel. And then I started making patterns, which again helps, but I don't get to interact with people very much, right? People ask me questions on Etsy, but I don't really get to interact with people. And what I like doing is like going out and interacting with people and whatnot. So this is a long introduction to tell you that I started a new business, and it is based on vintage spools, and it's called The Spoolery. And I have an Instagram that I've been keeping kind of on the DL until I had a little bit of content in it, but I'm going to tell you guys now. It's the Spoolery at the Spoolery. I'll put it right here. So if you are interested in spool content, I didn't want to spam my other, like my normal Instagram with all the spool content because there's going to be a lot of spool content. But if you want spool content, you can go follow me on the Spoolery. I'll also have an Etsy shop, but that's not up yet. I'll tell you when that is. The reason why this all kind of got pushed ahead, I wasn't planning on discussing this or launching it or anything for a little while, but I discovered that I could still get into my local holiday market. It's not going to be very big. It's not a very big holiday market, but as I'm thinking as kind of a soft launch, because what I really want to do is I want to have a booth at our local art festival, which is usually in May. It's the Market Street Festival. It was postponed into September, so I did a little tour of it in September. I love that arts festival. It is so much fun, and I really want to have a booth there. So this is going to be kind of my soft launch of that, and I'm going to have earrings and necklaces and Christmas ornaments and stuff like that. So this is going into plans a bit, but I do have to make a lot of stuff, and also my next video. But that's kind of my big announcement. My big announcement is that I started a new business. It's going to have an Etsy shop. I'll let you know when that's up. But for now, I just have an Instagram and I'm going to this holiday market and I'm kind of excited. It's big to me and it makes me really happy. Like it makes me happy to like make things that people are buying, like make physical things that people want to have, that people want to wear. And the holiday market is $10 to get into, right? I mean, it's like no risk. And I've already bought all the friggin' spools. Like I have hundreds of spools already, which I'll show you a picture of them at the end, but they're in haul. But like, so I've already sunk the cost. So this is $10 and we already have a booth. I mean, we already have a tent. I have tables. Yeah, it just didn't make sense to not do it. So, and it made me happy. Like as soon as I decided to do this, I had like, I was like, I don't know. It just, all my dopamine centers like went wild and we're very happy with this decision. So I am thrilled about this decision. So I have been making lots of things. That's what those ornaments are for. That's what the earrings are for. And my video next week will be a tutorial, sort of a Christmas decor with spools tutorial, because I've actually had a lot of you reach out to me and say, I have a bunch of spools and I don't know what to do with them. So I'm going to show you some Christmas decor ideas that in some cases are like glued to the spool, so they're not removable from the spool, but in other cases you can remove them from the spool and then you don't have to like destroy the spool with whatever you're gluing to it, right? But I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited. And I keep having these ideas. So that's what the weaving's for also. So it's going to be the weaving. I have some embroidery I'm going to put up. I have jewelry. I have kind of Christmas decor. So I have 6 or 7 types of things I'm going to sell at this Christmas market that is not going to be overwhelming, but also it will be interesting and it'll be kind of on brand. So I have this kind of, my brand is kind of boho, natural, vintage is kind of where I'm going. So my video next week will then be some Christmas decor tutorial. And those are my finished objects. And that was a lot of talking. Finished objects and my big announcement. All right, let's talk whips. As always, I have my temperature library, and this is a pattern that I designed. I'm doing the embroidery version and I'm doing it all in satin stitch, as you can see. I have a cross stitch version of this for 2021 that you can use for 2022, which looks like this. I have a cross stitch version for 2022 of the bookshelf that looks like this. And I have a new temperature chart that is not a bookshelf, that is a drink shelf that looks like this. Those are all available on my Etsy shop, which is always linked down below. And this is I'm going to have 2 Etsy shops, essentially. I'm going to have a Spoolery Etsy shop, and I'm going to have a Christie's Corner Needlework Etsy shop, which will just be my patterns. Like I said, I'm doing this on satin stitch, and I'm doing pretty well. I'm not quite caught up yet, but I think I can get caught up this weekend. This is October, so I'm pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. And I am getting the shelves in. I did the shelves this week, and I think I did a little bit of this clock this week. So I'm moving along, which makes me feel good. I have been working on the 2022 version of this, of the embroidered version of the Temperature Library 2 embroidery version, but it's not done yet. That actually takes a while, and this is being stitched in all satin stitches. Next year, my plan is to stitch each book in a different stitch. That's going to take planning, and I want to have that planned before I release the pattern. So if anyone else wants to experiment with 365 different stitches, you can do that with me. But that's going to take a little bit of time. And I'm basically just going through old stitching books and new stitching books and gifted stitching books and purchased stitching books. I also think I need to change my temperature colors. When I came up with this color scheme, I had never done a temperature library before. So this was kind of an experimental color scheme. And overall, it was okay. This color scheme was okay. But I didn't use these my two hot colors at all. Like, didn't use them at all. And my like middle colors are very empty. Like, I may run out of 444, which is 84 to 86 degrees. So I think I need to change my temperature table for next year. And I think what I need to do is I need to have the upper and like the extremes be a larger number of temperatures and the middle be a smaller number of temperatures. So I think that is what I need to figure out for next year as well, is how I can redo the temperatures so that it's less, God, because I have 7 of the same color right here. I mean, give me a break. Like, these are all the same color 7 days in a row. It looks great in January, February, March, and April. And May's okay too, but man, the summer is just like, I thought we got really hot in the summer. We don't get very hot in the summer. I mean, we get hot, but not like hot. We're just humid. But I didn't use my hottest temperatures, my hottest colors, and that's depressing. Like, I really wanted some 666 in there, let me tell you. So that is my temperature library pattern that I keep in my books bag that I made. And I have another new stitching start. I started a new landscape, and I didn't get very far on it. So this is the picture that I'm going for. My friend took this. My friend in California is a fantastic photographer, and she takes the most amazing pictures, and she lives in like Orange County and goes to the beach all the time and goes to the desert, and she has the best pictures. Anyway, this is my start. So I just have the darkest blue at the top. I think you can probably see, I'll move it here so I can see it. And I'll put the picture of the picture right there. I think you can see it. We'll see. And this is my little, my dino skeleton needle minder that I made just for funsies. Oh, and that is using all different kinds of things. It's stitched on a bleached linen from fabricstore.com, which is where I get almost all my linen. It's using some fun things. It's the sky. I couldn't get the sky. The sky is like this luminous color. So I decided the sky should be silk. So I'm using 2 BeStitchMe's and 1 Dinky Dyes. The BeStitchMe is Nebula, Arctic, which is such a blue. And this is One of a Kind Daydream from Dinky Dyes. And then the other ones are DMC. Oh, so I have a DMC in there. And I have some coloring cottons. I have Abyss, which is lovely. DMC, I have coloring cotton woolen, which is kind of a white. I have Mystical Diamond Art One-Eyed Willy, and this was, I think, from this is from the pirate box, the Black Needle Society pirate box. I just bought the fabric. I just bought the floss, I mean. And then Spring Moss by Coloring Cotton. In addition, I have some fun things that I might as well just talk about now. One of my purchases was Corticelli embroidery floss, 6 thread, 6, what's it called? 6 strand embroidery floss. So I'm using 2 of those. I bought a couple colors of these. I know this is getting into haul, but I bought a couple colors of these. 8. I bought 8 colors of these. They're vintage and they're a good color, so I got them as well. And that is my new start on my beach landscape that I had mentioned I wanted to start a while ago, and I decided just to like bite the bullet and just to do it. If you remember several weeks ago, I attempted to stitch on this and it did not go well. I had to frog the whole thing twice and then I just gave up the 3rd time. I was going to do it again. I could not get the feet off of the colander. The colander holes are not like in like a grid. Basically, I think that I can't stitch on this and enjoy it. There's no point in stitching on something if you're not going to enjoy it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find a mesh colander, a vintage mesh colander. We have a couple antique stores. I'll go look for them there. I think I'm just going to throw this in the kitchen and use it as like a colander. So that's a fail that I'm just accepting. I'm accepting that it's a fail. Sometimes my experiments fail. It's difficult for me to accept when they fail, but sometimes they do. Let's talk about Happy Mail. I got some fantastic Happy Mail in the past 2 weeks, and I'm really excited. First of all, if you've been watching me for any amount of time, when I was in my old space, I used to have thread winders behind me that I used all the time. I have since moved them because I use them, but I saw Vicky Stitch and Button show some floss winders that she got, and these are from R&R Woodworks KY on Instagram, and I think they have a website now too. If so, I'll put them down below. But well, let me just show you. So she showed this wood, thread winders made out of this wood. Now I love a gnarly wood. Love a gnarly wood. I think gnarly wood is completely gorgeous. I want to be surrounded by gnarly wood. And this is amazing. I think this is black maple. And so it's like half and half. And I messaged Roxanne and I said, do you have any more of this wood? Like, do you have any more thread winders of this wood? And she said, no, we don't. That was all we had. You know, I'm sorry. It was a special gift. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I get a message. Rich, who is the woodworker who makes these, found more or had 3 more. How can we send these to you? And I'm like, that's amazing. I will take them. And she's like, just so you know, you can, like this wood isn't stable though. It's gnarly for a reason. It's not stable. I'm like, that's fine. I just want them for decoration. And in fact, I think I might use this little short one as like a shuttle when I finally get a loom. Just saying. In fact, I might use all of them as a shuttle when I get a loom. Besides the point. I said, I don't care. I just want them as decoration. I just want to look at them. And she said, okay, we'll send them to you. I'm like, great. Invoice me. I'm super excited. She's like, no. We'll just send them to you. I'm like, what? What? They sent these to me. How nice is that? So these are from R&R Woodworks, KY, Kentucky. I'll put a link to their Instagram down below, and I'm pretty sure they have a website. I'll put that down below too. But they do amazing work. Like, he hand sands this to like a butter smooth with like an emery board. Not even lying. These are amazing. He also makes tailor's clappers. I think that's what they're called, where you heat them up and you put them on seams for quilters. He makes thread winders and scissor holders and chart holders. Check them out. They're amazing. You will see these all the time right behind me because honestly, I just like looking at them. So that is my one happy mail, or one of my happy mails. I also participated in one of the charity Zooms that is going to support missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit folks. I've talked about that before. It's being run by Michelle G. Bendy Stitchy and Aaron the 2 Martini Stitcher and Resist Stitch. So I participated in that and everyone got a prize. To make a long story even longer, everyone who participated in the Zoom got a prize, and I got to choose my prize, and my prize came. So I got a bookmark for a Stitchy bookmark from Rachel Ray. So thank you, Rachel Ray. And it's, you know, a castle on a hill. How could I not, right? And it's by Michael Powell. Michael Powell. And apparently he is a big deal in the cross stitch. I mean, Michelle knew exactly who he was. But I figured I need bookmarks with all the reading I'm doing. So I got a bookmark. And finally, I got a little happy mail from my husband, who saw my obsession with spools and thread, which we'll talk about in a moment, and vintage sewing kits, and thought, maybe I should get her something so she knows what the hell she's doing and why she's buying these things. So he bought me books. He bought me sewing tools and trinkets. And this is Collector's Identification and Value Guide and Volume 2. So, at just a cursory inspection of this, and these came out in 2000. These were published in 2000, I think. Oh, this is copyright 1997. And I paid about the same price as are in this book for the kinds of things that I got. So I don't feel like I got ripped off, which is nice. So I feel good about that. So that is, oh, heavy. My last bit of Stitchy Kindness and Happy Mail from my husband. Books about the things I'm collecting. He's so thoughtful. Like, he's so thoughtful. Seriously. He also was afraid. I was like never gonna stop buying. Because it was kind of like I decided I wanted to collect these, and so I bought 10. Because again, I have no chill. Speaking of my vintage sewing kits, I brought 3 to show you. The first one I actually did not buy for the actual sewing kit. The sewing kit, I mean, is nice enough. It's I'm assuming polyester it's like padded with like a swan on it. The reason I got it was because it had tiny scissors in it. And then I got it home and I saw the scissors and I squealed. Like, I lost it. Look how tiny these scissors are. Oh my goodness. These tiny, tiny scissors. They actually cut. Most of my vintage scissors do not cut. But I just like covered it. Look how tiny they are. I can't even. I had no idea they were going to be this small. I'm still delighted by these. So I'm completely delighted by these scissors. The inside of the case is just a couple buttons. I mean, it's just a standard kind of sewing case, but it has the tiniest little scissors. God, I love these scissors so much. I love them. And they just like nestle inside. Love it. So that's the first one I wanted to show you. And I wanted to show you this a couple weeks ago and I didn't. The second one I got for the box. I like the box a lot. I feel like it's birds and bees or birds and stars, but I don't know why I think they're birds and stars. They just look like birds and stars to me, or bees. But it opens up like that. And this one I need to fix a little bit because it has a mirror that is no longer attached. So we'll put that here for now so I don't drop it and cut myself. But it is just a sewing kit with some cotton spools of thread with wooden spools, black wooden spools and cotton. And then that's obviously where the mirror goes. So I just need to put the mirror back on. But I got this one. So I buy them for different reasons, right? So some of them I buy them for the box, some I buy for the thread, some I buy for the scissors. So this one I bought for the box because I just thought that box was so pretty. Isn't that lovely? This one I bought for the thread. It's just a black hard case with a hinge, but the threads are minuscule. So I want to not dump them out. Here, why don't I pull one out? So these are, I'm pretty sure these are silks. Yeah, these are sewing silks, but look how tiny these little wooden spools of silk are. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love tiny things. Like if these weren't in a case with other silks, I would absolutely make jewelry out of these. But I can't like pull them out of here. It's too perfect in there. And then there's some needles in the middle. I will use it, however. It is sewing silk, and I am more than happy to use it if I want to sew something or if I want to embroider something with this silk. But, oh, and then there's a little spindle too. Oh, and these are darning silks. So these are sewing silks and these are darning silks, and you would use these to darn your stockings. So your silk stockings to fix your holes in your stocking. And this one is Belding Hemingway, which is Belding, Corticelli, and Hemingway all combined at one point. So sometimes it's Belding Hemingway, sometimes it's Belding Corticelli, sometimes it's just Corticelli, sometimes it's just Belding. It's very complicated. So that is this. Those are a little exploration of some of my travel cases. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I have been buying these little cards. There we go. And these are sales cards that salesmen, they're vintage sales cards that salesmen would use when they were going door to door and selling, in this case, selling Corticelli thread, which is my current obsession. And I just thought that this was just so sweet. I mean, it's just like a little castle on a hill with flowers and a lake. I mean, it's just so sweet. I ordered this. I got this in the mail. So, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. So I'm going to do a Haunted Baby card giveaway. I want this out of my house. So I had lost this for 2 weeks. I think he was plotting my murder. I survived. I survived the haunting and the cursed baby card. But I don't know that I will later on. But I can't live with this baby card in my possession. So I'm giving it away. So if you want a cursed baby, a Victorian cursed baby card, does it have a date on it? I don't know that I ever took it out. There's no date on it, but it's for a dry goods and carpets company. I don't know. A dry goods and carpets company. I want to get rid of this creepy baby card. So this Haunted Baby is up for grabs. I'm going to do a giveaway. You must be 18. You must, so I can get your address. You must be a subscriber. What else? I haven't done a giveaway in a while like this. You must be a subscriber. You must be 18. Oh, don't say giveaway and stuff in the comments. And use the word haunted. Haunted. This is a Haunted Baby Halloween giveaway. So if you want to win this, and some of you said that you did. I mean, I'm not just like giving this away to like curse other people. There were people in my comments being like, oh, did I miss the haunted baby giveaway? The creepy ass baby giveaway? You did not. It's happening now. Creepy ass baby giveaway. The Haunted Baby giveaway. Use the word haunted. I will draw this in 2 weeks, which is, you know, mid-November. I will draw this in mid-November. So you'll get a Haunted Baby in time for Christmas or other winter holiday that you may celebrate, or the new year. To start off 2022 right with a cursed Haunted Baby. Haunted, get the Haunted Baby. And it's going to go in an envelope. I'm going to put it in a card in an envelope. It's in plastic, so it should be safe, but I'm not putting this in a box. So it's going to be in an envelope and a stamp, just so you know. So that is that. All right, let's talk about plans. First of all, my video last week, which I'll post up here if you want to see it, I asked you to help me choose ornaments to stitch for 2 different giveaways that I'm doing for various people. One of them is closed and the other one is for embroidery.com. I'll put a link down below. I think it's still open. I talked about it last week. I'll put a video there. Well, I've tallied up the votes and I couldn't use the comment picker because some of you used numerals and some of you spelled it out. There were some complaints about spelling it out. Luckily, I didn't get a ton. I mean, I got a good number of comments, don't get me wrong, but I didn't get like 150 comments. So I just went through and tallied it out. So here's my tally. And the winner by a huge margin was number 6. Oh, let me get it. Let me show you. Let me show you which one it is. The winner by a huge margin is number 6, Cardinal, right there. So I'm going to stitch the number 6 cardinal for the embroidery.com gift exchange, which doesn't have to be an ornament, but it's going to be. So that's the first thing. That's like the far and away winning choice. The second place was pretty close. It was between the 2 Santas. So it was between the Moon Santa, that one in particular, the alternate hat way, and late entry number 12, German Santa. So it was a battle of the Santas, the Santa Battle Royale, and the winner was German Santa by 1 point. So the number 6 got 18 votes, Cardinal got 13, Chickadee got 2, Robin got 3. Vintage German Santa got 10 votes, and Moon Santa got 9 votes. Nobody liked the Nutcracker. Nobody voted for the Nutcracker. So here's the breakdown. If you want to see the breakdown. There you go. But everyone, I mean, 6 was by far the winner. There you go. I'm going to be stitching a Santa and a snowflake and bird in the next 2 weeks. You'll see, hopefully both of them next time in the next 2 weeks. So that'll be fun. So that's my plans for the next 2 weeks. We're in plans. I don't even know if I said we're in plans. We're in plans. So my plan for the next 2 weeks is to stitch those 2 ornaments and, well, at least stitch them. I don't think I have to fully finish them yet. My plan for this weekend, because it's Halloween weekend, I have a spooky stitch and I have a spooky gift stitch for you. I went to a fundraiser for our local bookstore last weekend, and someone there was wearing a sweatshirt, had made a sweatshirt like with her Cricut or whatever, had made a sweatshirt with this phrase on it. And I was like, oh my God, I have to stitch it. Ghosts were people too. I just was delighted by this phrase, this sentence, right? This like sentiment. So I decided that I was going to stitch it, and I thought that I would give it away to you all to stitch it too. So there's going to, this weekend is hashtag future Ghost Sal. I'll put it right here. And I'm giving away this pattern. It's on my box.com. You can download it as a PDF. I put the link down below. Stitch it with me. Stitch it with me. It's one color or whatever color you want, I suppose. I don't know what color I'm going to stitch it on yet. I'll post that on Instagram when I kind of figure it out tomorrow. But it's, I think, 850 stitches total. It's not that big. I'm stitching it this weekend. I'm so excited. So please stitch it with me. Hashtag future Ghost Sal. It'll be so much fun. I'm following that hashtag on Instagram. It'll be fun. So stitch it with me. It's a freebie, a Halloween stitchy freebie. Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you stitch it this weekend for Halloween. I need to make more of those ornaments. I need to make more jewelry, more stuff for the market, for the Christmas market. So those are my plans. And then my video for next week is going to be Christmas decor. I have all sorts of notes here because it was too much for me to remember. So those are my plans. All right, let's talk haul. I bought a lot of spools. Here's a picture of my spool collection. Well, 2 pictures of my spool collection. There are 2 drawers in an armoire that sits over there. So they're nice and organized by size. And so the top drawer is spools with thread, and the next drawer is spools without thread. I also bought a vintage ribbon lot off of eBay that has some really fun sparkly stuff for ornaments for this, Christmas market that I'm doing, the holiday market. And so here's the drawer of vintage ribbon and stuff. It's a lot of rickrack and seam binding and piping, and then also some lace and some sparkly stuff. So I think I'm going to get years of use out of this, but when I do giveaways, I'm probably going to just like throw in a pack of like vintage rickrack. So just expect that. I talked about the Corticelli threads, embroidery threads floss that I got, which I'm using, which I showed you in my Seascape whip. And I bought a Haid. Well, I have no chill. I bought 6 Haids. I've mentioned this before. Some of my stitchy friends have a poll going of when I'm going to start my first Haid. And in order to humor them, I went on the Haid website and I actually found one that I like. And it is this picture of, it's a tapestry, it's a medieval tapestry called Desire. And there are 6 of them. There are the 5 senses, smell, sight, taste, etc. and desire. They're super famous. I've seen them in Paris. I love them. And I was wanting to embroider them anyway. And this way I can embroider them and not have to chart it myself. Win. That's a win, right? That's a win. And then there was a sale, 50% off sale. I'm like, well, shit. I was going to buy them all. Because you never know. Sometimes the charts disappear from Heaven and Earth Designs. Oh, Hades or Heaven and Earth Designs. It's a company that makes really big charts. I bought all of them. So I bought all 6 of them. They were half off. So I need help. I need help with fabric because this is my first giant cross stitch. And the pattern calls for a 25 count, which I think is too small for my eyes. And I'm an aida stitcher. Or 18 count, which uses like a yard of fabric. So my question is, why can't I use 20 count? Like, why wasn't 20 count aida an option? So my first question is, can I just use 20 count aida? Is there a reason why I can't use 20 count aida? And my second question is, would I do 1 strand or 2 strands in 20 count aida? Full coverage like this. Full cross. What do you think? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on Hades. Those of you who do these big designs, what do you do? Because I just don't think I want to start. I've never stitched on an even weave before, and I don't know that a giant pattern like this is what I want to do my first even weave on. I just don't think I want to. I just don't think I would enjoy it. Yeah. Give me your thoughts. I do think I'm going to have to buy a couple cones of red, though. The different colors of red. I think I'm buying a cone of 814 before I start this, because I'm starting with 814. Yeah, any help, that'd be very appreciated. Okay, that's all my stitching. Holy cow, a lot of stitching. I've been talking for a long time. I have a slight book/work update. If you want to stay for that, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you hanging out with me and listening to me talk about stitching and weaving and spools. If you are not following me on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy. And my new, if you're interested in seeing my spool ventures, the Spoolery on Instagram. I look forward to seeing, well, I don't know if anyone will want to see my spool stuff, which is why I made it separate. So if you're interested, I'll see you over there. All right, let's talk book. For those of you who are new, I am a medieval history professor, and I'm writing a book on medieval women and their access to justice in 14th and 15th century France, Paris in particular. And I'm writing this book, and you all are helping me do it by keeping me accountable. And so I report back to you every fortnight now. It was every week, but now it's every fortnight. I did make a video about the book and why I'm talking about it in my Flosstube, and I'll link it up here. I'm pretty sure it's up here as opposed to up here. I could be wrong, but I think it's up here. If it's not, it'll pop up somewhere. This week was slow. The last 2 weeks were slow going for my book. And the reason why is that it's getting to the end of my sabbatical. Well, we're midway through the sabbatical, which means, and through the semester, which means that I need to start thinking about next semester because I'm teaching next semester again. And so I had to order books and do all the stuff to prep for that. The other thing that I had to do is there was a fellowship application that was due this week that was for next semester. So I've been working on that fellowship application. If I get it, I will get a nice little chunk of money and have a ton of work to do next semester. Extra work to do next semester. If I don't get it, I don't get the money, but I also don't have to do the work. So, either way, I figure it's win-win. I applied for it. I have a application now. So if I want to apply for something else for this project, I already have kind of a project built around it. And this is something that I'd planned on doing. I was really getting rolling in February of 2020. And it's a public history thing. So it's like out in the public, and then everything shut down, and it was like, okay, well, that's done then. So we're going to try and revive it and see what happens. I'll keep you posted on that. I don't know when I'll know, but I'll keep you posted on that. As for the book front, I have been doing some reading, and what I realized in the past couple weeks is that so this is kind of based on my dissertation research, which I completed in 2015 for my PhD. And what I realized is I kind of got at the early stages of this. Like my research in my dissertation was very early in the research on this topic. So there's a ton of new literature that's critical for me to read that I haven't read yet, that I'm like working through this semester. This book in particular, The History of Courts and Procedure in Medieval Canon Law, is incredibly valuable for me. So I'm carefully working through this book. And this is essentially, I don't have any fun factoids or tidbits to tell you this week, because essentially I'm learning about medieval court procedure. And most of the people who work on this topic, who work on the law and the court systems, are actually trained lawyers. So many of them work in law schools or have JDs along with their PhDs, and I do not. So this is incredibly helpful, and this came out in 2016. So I'm so glad I was able to get a hold of this. But like I said, I'm working through it slowly because I feel like I have to know this. I also asked my library to pick it up. This is an interlibrary loan. So I asked my library to pick it up. So I don't have any tidbits, but I have been reading, and I was planning on looking up to see how much I had read this month. I think I'm at like 40 or 45 articles and chapters in the month of October, which feels really good. Essentially, those of you who have been to grad school or have friends who got a PhD or got a master's degree in humanities have heard of a comprehensive exam. And for history, that's basically where you read like hundreds of books and articles and answer lots of questions about them, like have like an exam about them. I feel like I'm basically doing that again because I have so much to catch up on from the 5 years I had not been doing research, because I'm at a teaching institution, so I don't get a lot of chances to research. But I'm really excited because those of you who were watching me over the summer, I had access to like the premier medieval studies database in the month of August. And so I basically just like spent all my time going through that in interlibrary loaning things and trying to get things through my library, because I knew it was going to disappear. And the closest place for me to get that is an hour drive away, and it's COVID. And I'm trying not to I'm still trying to stay safe, right? I just found out this past week that my library is getting it for me. My library, my little university is going to have this like amazing medieval database for me and my students. Like, I'm literally going to cry. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like, that was seriously like the best news I'd gotten in a very long time. So that's really exciting. I'm honestly a little teary-eyed. I mean, that completely changes my research, my students' research. I mean, it's like, I'm so excited. You never thought you'd see someone this excited over a database. That is my update for you. Thank you so much for watching. If you've stuck around this long, please, if you're interested in the Haunted Baby card, please put haunted in the description box below. No, in the comments below. Haunted in the comments below. And I will use the random comment picker and, find someone who wants this haunted baby, because I do not want this haunted baby. I will see you next week with a tutorial about some Christmas decorations using empty vintage spools, or not vintage spools. I mean, basically using spools of thread. So if you can use modern spools of thread, there's no reason why you can't. So I will do that for next week. And then I'll see you again in 2 weeks for another Flosstube update. And hopefully I'll see you on Instagram. Whew, it's been a long episode. So I'm going to sign off. Please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.